I'm going to sneeze. Maybe not.
Maybe not.
How many we got? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Nice.
Yeah, there's maybe some more coming.
I try to call you back.
Sounds on now.
All right, whenever you're ready.
La 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 We're on page 126, Yedit Nefesh. 126. Yedit Nefesh Avarachaman. Yedit Nefesh Avarachaman. Moshavtecha al retzonecha. Moshavtecha yalai lai 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 al retzonecha. Yarutz avtecha kamoyal yishachavi lai 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 yalai lai 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 el mul hadarecha. Yedit nefesh avarachaman. Yedit nefesh avarachaman. Moshavtecha al retzonecha. Moshavtecha yalai lai 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 el retzonecha.
On page 128, Ele Hamda Libi.
Ele Hamda Libi, Hosanna ve'alna titalem. 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 Ele Hamda Libi, Hosanna ve'alna titalem.
On page 129, on the facing page. May the door of the shul be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship. May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture. May the door of the shul be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity. May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness. May this shul be for all who enter the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life. We turn forward to page 131 to Psalm 96, Shirul Adonai, Shir Chadash.
שירו לאדוני, שירו שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ. שירו לאדוני, שירו שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ. שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. שירו לאדוני, שירו שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ. שירו לאדוני, שירו שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ. שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו.
On the next page 100 and, well, not the next page, I can't count, page 134.
זמרו לאדוני בחינו, בחינו בקול זמרה, בחצוצרות וקול שופר, הריעו לפני המלך אדוני. ירם הים ומלואו, תבל ויושבי בה, נהרות ימחאו חוף, יחד ערים ירננו. לפני אדוני קיווה, קיווה לשפוט הארץ, ישפוט תבל בצדק, וענמים במישרים. ירם הים ומלואו, תבל ויושבי בה, נהרות ימחאו חוף, יחד ערים ירננו.
And so we turn forward to the last song of our Kabbalat Shabbat, of our welcoming of Shabbat with song to Lecha Dodi, page 138.
La 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 lecha dodi, la 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 likrat kala, la 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 penei Shabbat, penei Shabbat likavela. Shamu vezachu bedibur echad, ishmiyanu elam yochad. Adonai echad, u'shemo echad, l'shem ul tiferet, v'lihitilah. La 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 lecha dodi, la 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 likrat kala, la 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 penei Shabbat, penei Shabbat likavela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'necha, ki himako הברכה. מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לה 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 lecha dodi, לה 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 לקראת כלה, לה 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 penei Shabbat, penei Shabbat לקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי בעורר קומי אורי, 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 שידברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. עטרת בלע, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לה 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 לך דודי, יא לה 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 לקראת כלה, לה 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 פני שבת, פני שבת נקבלה.
And so, having welcomed Shabbat with this beautiful song of Lecha Dodi, we now welcome Shabbat with the lighting of our Shabbat candles, and I'd like to invite the Tate family up to light our Shabbat candles. We turn to page 118. Frank, it's a good idea to follow the women. So, as you do light these Shabbat candles, lighting our candle of hope, our hope for our hostages, and of course these Shabbat candles you've been invited up to remember Tony, your beloved husband, John, and Frank, your father, and Heather, your father-in-law, and Olivia, your grandfather, representing your siblings as well, Alex and Jane. Don't forget that candle over there. One, 1, 8. Amen. And just before we turn to welcome one another and wish each other a Shabbat Shalom, Frank, I think you're going to share a few words about your dad. So if you want to come up in front of the mic, I'll invite you to take a seat just for a moment.
It's a bit of an invitation to bore everybody. My father was born on August 18th, 1930. Of course, that was the time of the Great Depression throughout the world, including Australia. Things were so bad that a complete tent city had been erected at the Royal Perth Golf Club. So after his bris, all the leftover food was taken to the people living in the tent city, and for them to get a decent feed on the occasion. To me, that's quite meaningful, because the kind of person, it reflects the sort of person about him, about helping others, giving. And for a bloke you could initially think was a little bit conservative, he actually was in so many ways very socially progressive. Of course, when he was born, when he grew up initially, was just not far from here in Braeside Road in Mount Lawley. At the age of 10, he went on a camp up to Northam, I think, and contracted meningitis. And in most instances, meningitis at the time was a death sentence. And his parents were told that his time on the earth was only a few days. And yet the family general practitioner said, I've heard that it's possible to treat meningitis with sulphur drugs. We can try it, but it's never been done before in Western Australia. It's a pretty brave thing to put on your child. They went, okay, and it worked. And 6 months of treatment, he lived to tell the tale and lived 92 years. Having grown up and gone to school, he then went into business. But most importantly, a very important thing happened in 1950. He was catching up with a friend, and they went round to this girlfriend's place, and there he met a very nice young lady who was aged 16, my mother. And that became history. It's a long time. So, one of his most important passions outside his family, and you could only imagine how much that all meant to him, was indeed Temple David. And his involvement in Temple David began at the very first meeting when he was one of the members there with you, Judith, and Ken, at the first meeting of the foundation, and it was everything to him. And as he and everybody else got older and the number of founding members got less, the fact that he was still one of them meant an enormous amount to him. And although he passed away just a few weeks before you were about to start here in Perth, I know he would have been so thrilled to have you here as our rabbi. And I will say, though, one thing, if he was still here today, that he would find traumatically distressing is the uptick in anti-Semitism that we all see and are aware of. And he was particularly mindful. He was very intolerant of it. I just thought of just then a funny story. Is his old business partner, John Evans. My father found, as younger, the anti-Semitism almost quite hard to handle, profoundly distressing. And on one occasion, in the 1950s, a non-Jewish person was chatting to him and John Evans, and I remember the father saying how the guy said, "Oh, that fella, he's a bit of a Jew boy." And it was, of course, meant to be a derogatory comment about the person's attitudes, not that their religion, because they weren't. And John Evans chimed in straight to my father and said, "If he's Jewish, you'd know him, John." My father said, "Well, he's not Jewish, of course." So. But through all of that, he was, most importantly, the eternal optimist. And things always look bright. And even when I think of the world today, particularly in the last 24 hours of a significant event that took place in Chicago, he would look at that and he would say that was a cause for a very bright future. So he's hoping he's right in the next 90 days. So thank you for the opportunity to talk about his life. It certainly was a very special person to me, and lovely memories.
May his memory be for a blessing.
Absolutely.
Before we just take a moment to wish one another a Shabbat Shalom, a couple of welcomes I'd like to do, and that is to you, Hilary Wayner, who's visiting here from Oxford. It's lovely to have you here, and you were dear friends of Bully and Lily Margolius, who are very well known to this congregation and are missed by our community, and almost new members, just to be ratified by our board. Stephanie and Rob, we welcome you. You have settled in your home in Lesmurdie, so welcome to you. And new members sitting over there, the Baumvolls, so lovely Jay and Kate, and Ollie and Chloe. Claire, sorry. So you can test me later, okay, that I get your name right. So lovely to have you here with us as well. Let's take a moment, let's welcome one another, wishing each other a Shabbat Shalom. And Rick, it's good to have you in Shul. Welcome back. You were traveling over east. You can leave, yes. No, you can't go home. You can go back to your seat. Page 142, Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Bacham LaShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Bachuni LaShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzatram LaShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
That's going to make for an interesting car ride home.
I was looking at that verse and I was like, did we just do that one? I wasn't sure.
We rise for the Chatzi Kaddish on page 144.
יתגדל ויתקדש מרבה, בעלמא דיברה חירוצי וימלך מלכותי, וחייך עוד ופיומך, ופרענו כל בית ישראל. פגלה, פגלה, ובזמן קריב, אמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם ולעלמי המיה, יתברך, יתברך וישתבח, ויתרא ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתחנן, יתעלה ויתעלן, שני קדושה ברכו, לילה מכל דחתה ושירתה, צור שפחתה ונחמתה, תמירן במה, ואמרו אמן. ברכו את אדוני המבורך,
On page 149. This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over?
Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Arabim. Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amecha Avta, Amcha Avta, Torah u'mitzvot, Hukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadata, Al kain Adonai Eloheinu b'shachbeinu, ufkumeinu nasiya b'chukecha, v'nismach b'divrei toratecha, ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגי יומם ולילה, נגי יומם ולילה, ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד.
You may be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
On page 157, standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together.
Mi chamocha, mi chamocha, mi chamocha, גם לפני משה ומרים. זה לי ענו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
ונאמר, כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל Yisrael. Hashkivenu on page 160. It sounds like David has started leading you in the singing there.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, העמידנו מלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, העמידנו מלכנו לחיים.
ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ותקננו בעצה טובה מלפניך, והושיענו למען שמך. ברוך אתה אדוני, הפורש סוכת שלום עלינו, ועל כל עמו ישראל, ועל ירושלים. ושמרו on page 162.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
We had about 70% participation.
I think they're doing very well. They're almost together now when they're clapping. Very close.
Those who participate.
Those participate, yes, very close. And we had some new participants over there who did very well.
Yes,
Top
absolutely.
Marks.
You wanted
Top
to do
marks over there.
Well, we can try that next time. Okay, next time remind us, double clap. Let's rise for the Amidah on page 164. And then there are some who just shouldn't clap.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufiyag telatecha. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufiyag telatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei avotenu imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, משיפה רוח ומוריד הגשם, מצליח השמש ומוריד הטל, מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיים הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ועורפי חולים, ומתי אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, כי כמוך הר גבורות, ומינו מלך, מלך חמית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמנת לחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני, לחיי הכל.
אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהלוך סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. We continue with the prayers of our hearts, or the words of the page, coming together with Oseh Shalom on page 180. Please feel free to have a seat once you've completed your prayers or your meditations. Perhaps this is just the first time you've had a little bit of quiet during the week. יהיו לרצון אמרי פי, והגיון ליבי לפניך, אדוני צורי וגואלי. May the words of my heart and the meditations of my mind be acceptable to you, O God, my rock and my redeemer.
Oseh shalom b'mromav, uyaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, amen. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Oseh shalom b'mromav, uyaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, amen.
May God bring peace to the entire world, and let us say,
Amen.
Amen. This week has been a most interesting week. as I've been watching Noah develop in her 4.5-year-oldness. Maybe it's been the last 2 weeks. We'll be driving along. We will be having a conversation. She'll go to swimming. She'll be going to hip hop. She'll be doing what Noah does. And invariably, we'll be having in our conversation. Suddenly she will say, "Why?" And I'll give her an answer. And she will go, "Why?" And I'll give an answer. And she'll go, "Why?" And I'll give an answer, and she'll go, "Why?" Give an answer, and this can go, and I'll do my best to give her answers until I actually have to say, "Sweetheart, I don't know." And as a parent, to say to a 4.5-year-old, where you think your intellect is way beyond hers, "I don't know," is a little frustrating, to say the least. Why? I'm sure some of you who are parents have never had that experience, have you? Andrew? Are you still experiencing it? Are you still experiencing? From time to time, but not as much. Heather, you've had 3. Does your daughter still say why? It's just what children do. And I decided, when I knew I was going to become a parent, that when my child invariably does that, I was going to do my best to not answer with the word because. 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 Do you know how many times a child within that age range of 2 to 5 or 2 to 6 might ask the word why in one day? At least 50. No, I read books. Not that much. It's about 650 if you've got 3 children. It's about 240 if you've got 1. But I don't, thank goodness, I shouldn't say it that way, I don't spend all day, every day with my daughter. So I don't know what it is if you've got 5 children or more. It's a lot. It's a lot of answering why in detail. We went to the aquarium last Sunday morning. There were a lot of whys. And tell me, my specialty is not in marine biology. And then she started on God. Even my answers on God are finite. Because God exists. Why? Because God exists. Why? Because God exists. Why? Because it's in the Torah and Moses wrote the Torah. Now, I don't even believe that. But this week's Torah portion, what do I do when this week's Torah portion begins with the word? Guess what it begins with? No. Because. This week's Torah portion begins with the word ekev, which means because. It doesn't begin with the word why, which is the ultimate Jewish question. It begins with the word because. Because this has happened, because that happened, because. It almost begins with the end. We ask the question, and God answers, because. Why do we have to keep the commandments? Because. Why should we believe in you? Because. Why should we do this? Why should we go here? Why should we eat this? God answers, because. This is how the rabbis interpret it. And so we are pushed in this understanding And in this, to ask another question, because that's what we do. We don't just accept the answers. And even for my 4.5-year-old, to not just look at the simplicity of the why, because even with a 4.5-year-old, I can look and say, what's behind the why? Before I give my answer, that doesn't have to just be a because answer, because the sun rises, because the sun sets, because this is what I said, and this because this is how it works. What is behind her question? When she says, why are the starfish, why do they have, 5 fingers? Why do they have 5 questions? I think, is she just asking why do they have 5, or is she asking something that's a little bit more miraculous than that? Now, I don't think she's asking about the importance of life, but I think she is asking, this is, in her mind, this is magical. This is awesome. And in this Torah portion, it does say that we must be in awe of God. Now, I think it's not so much in awe of God, but in awe of creation, awe of the world, in awe of what is so incredible around us. You go into nature, it's awe-inspiring. You go to the aquarium, you go to Aqua, and you see those jellyfish, bloop, 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 bloop. It's awe-inspiring. You guys have been to Aqua? You've been to the aquarium, right? Those fish, many times.
I remember sticking my hand into that, bowl.
The touch pool.
Yeah, the touch pool.
Yeah, not the one with the stingrays where you'll get stabbed.
No, the ones when you put your fingers in and you look at the fish.
Yeah, with the Port Jackson sharks. Yeah, and the little starfish. It's awe-inspiring. And I think that's what it's about. It's not just why is this, but what's behind it. What's so cool and interesting. And I think that's what we do, is when we're faced with all of these why questions, we look behind, we look underneath. Say, why are we doing this? It's not just the simple of why am I doing this, but why am I doing this? Because this world, even though it seems at times so crazy and messed up, this world is still marvelous. Shabbat Shalom. Let's rise for Aleinu on page 586. And Margaret, I'm going to invite you up to open the ark. And you're opening this ark in memory of your beloved love of David, 14 years. May his memory be a blessing. Do you want to share something now, or at your outside, or not this time?
Yep.
Come to the microphone.
Hardly anybody here will remember David, but I know some of you do, and that's really great.
I do.
It's been a long time, but his memory's still very, very strong. And life goes on.
I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for David.
We wouldn't either. He was her tutor for history.
History tutor.
Chinese history.
And Japanese.
And Japanese.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה יוצא בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוצא את הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושרינתו זו בגופי מאומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
And so as we turn to the Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish, on page 598. Judith, are you going to share a few words about your grandfather? Did you want to? I'll give you some time.
Do you want to come up here?
Do you want to come up?
My grandfather, Esau Maisel, was born in Minsk and later came to settle in Perth with his parents. He married Leah Cohen and had 4 sons. The youngest was my father, Philip Maisel. Esau was the founder of Worth's clothing stores. He was a member of the board of Princess Margaret Hospital and was a benefactor of all Jewish charities organizations. He was also president of the Perth Hebrew congregation for 2 years. He died of a heart attack at the age of 75 years.
Thank you. And so we share the names of Shiva, Shloshim, and the Yardzites. And I also announce the passing of Max Walters, who will be laid to rest in the coming weeks by Chevra Kadisha. For the Shloshim, we remember Richard Pilpel and Samuel Weiner. And the Yardzites we remember as part of our congregation: Leslie Jane Bracco, sister of Bernie Williams; David Glenister, husband of Margaret Glenister; Lillian Strasbourg, grandmother of Joanna Eaton; Alexander Hartz, father of Jeanette Hartz Carp; John Tate, husband of Tony, father of Franklin, father-in-law of Heather Tate, and grandfather of Olivia, Jane, and Alexander; Esau Maisel, grandfather of Judith Arkwright; John McGowan, brother-in-law of Terry Boyd; David Stanwicks, husband of Shirley Stanwicks; Dorothy Lemkin, grandmother of Marilyn Selden; Grace Elizabeth Kim, granddaughter of Valerie Scott. If anyone else would like to remember the name of a loved one for Shiva, for Shloshim, or for Yardzeit, I invite you to share your loved one's name at this time out loud or in your hearts. Zecher Tzadik Livracha, may the memory of the righteous be for a blessing as we join together in one voice to support one another. Yikadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalmad divrach hirutei v'yamlech malchutei, v'chayachon of yomechon, v'v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, v'agala v'zman kariv v'maru.
Amen.
Yehei shemei Rabbah mevorach le'olam olamei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, Vitadav, Vitale, Vitalal, Shemeda Kudasha, Brechu, Le'elam min kol berchata v'shirata, Tushbachata v'nechamata, Damiran bi'alma v'maru,
Amen.
Yehei Shlam Araba min Shemaya, V'chayim aleinu bi'al kol Yisrael v'imru,
Amen.
Oseh Shalom b'mromav, U'yaseh Shalom, aleinu bi'al kol Yisrael v'imru,
Amen.
Hamakom yinachem etchem b'toch sha'ah havlei Tzion v'Yerushalayim. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved in Zion and Jerusalem and around the world, and we say, Amen. As we are seated, I invite our President, Rick Wolosny, to make some announcements for our congregation.
Thanks, Kim and Gina. Firstly, I'd like to say Shabbat Shalom to everybody, and also a special welcome to our visitors and potential new members. So you're very welcome, and hope you're a part of our congregation for a very long time. There are a few notices, and I'll work through those. Tomorrow, 9 a.m, we've got TDRS, 10:30 Shabbat Erev Service, 12:30 Coffee Club, and at Flora on 10th, corner of 10th Avenue and Beaufort Street. Monday the 26th of August, 12 o'clock, we have Mahjong Club. Wednesday the 28th, 12 noon, Smooze Club, home cooked lunch and entertainment. Contact Joanne Shenik to book. 5:15 Israeli dancing, 6:30 ITJ, 7:30 Hebrew, 7:40 Jewish history with Rabbi Kim Ettinger. Coming this week, Monday the 26th, 7 for 7:30, Senator David Sharma will speak at PHC on the future of Australia-Israel relations. David Sharma is currently Senator for New South Wales, previously served in the Australian Embassy in Washington, and was Australia's ambassador to Israel for 2013 2017. That should be very interesting. Thursday the 29th at 7:30 at the Temple David Function Centre, Riverbeds and Watersheds, a new geography of the Exodus and its wanderings, presentation by Dr. Deborah Hearn, arranged by the Council of Christian and Jews. See Mahadash to book. Save the date, Monday the 9th of September, 9:45 J&F WA, and AUJS Young Adult Event, 18 to 25 only. Speaker Elon Levi, former Israeli government spokesman following October 7th, investigative journalist and news anchor. This event is free, but registration is essential. The link is on our Facebook page and will be in Mahadash next week. Speak to Gina and she can text it to you. Sunday the 29th of September, Busy Bee here to smarten up our gardens, ready for High Holy Days where we have to have the place looking at its best. Inquiries to Hilary Silbert. See Mahadash for contact details. Thursday 3rd of October, booking now is open for Rosh Hashanah lunch on the 3rd of October. See Mahadash once again. And UPJ biennial event on 7th to 10th of October in Canberra. Please see Mahadash for the link. Tickets are selling fast. Book out before it's sold out. There is good representation coming from Temple David, so it'd be good to get even stronger representations. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Rick. We're going to end our service with Im Tirtzu on page 644. If you will it is no dream. The words from Theodore Herzl.
Im Tirtzu, ein so agada, להיות עם חופשי בארצנו, בארץ ציון, בירושלים. בירושלים תרצו, אם תרצו, אין זו אגדה, אין זו אגדה. להיות עם חופשי בארצנו, בארץ ציון, בירושלים.
How many years out of youth group? Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Let's go into the foyer for Kiddush.